That is why they're stressing out. Candy vacation. Wondering my Desperado banderas. Power Rangers children. Golden diamonds running.
Take the blood.
She the only one.
Oh my God, I got to. Oh man, I got to. Yeah. Oh man, I got to. Oh man, I got to. Yeah. Oh man, I. Oh man, I. Oh man, I. Oh man, I. Alright guys, hey, welcome back. Just one of my favorite songs, Zubi and Anatu. Incredible album, such beautiful music. Anyways, I just came back from the cenote. We had a fantastic time, me and my landlords and a few other people. It was a beautiful place, lots of good vibes. It's beautiful surroundings. And we jumped from like super high. I think it was like 6 meters, and it's always so scary when you stand there, right, and you look down. It's like, oh, it's so high. I never expected this to be so high. But then you jump and it's like, oh my God, I want to go again. And then you stand there again and like, I don't want to. And then you just jump, and it's really cool. Like you can feel the adrenaline rushing through your veins. Anyways, as I was driving back home, I was talking to my landlord, and she asked me a little bit about how I got into personal development and the channel and everything. And it helped me to reflect a little bit on where I came from and where I'm heading. And I thought I'd share that with you because it's also cool to know a little bit more about me personally and what drives me and stuff like that. So the reason why I got into personal development is because honestly, I was just too overwhelmed by my sensitive nature, okay? High sensitive people, they have a way of processing the world which is a lot deeper than most people. Depth of processing is a characteristic of the highly sensitive person trait, okay? Depth of processing. So we process everything more deeply. And that also makes us more prone to overstimulation. And so growing up, I felt very much out of control of my emotions, of the ways I dealt with situations, people's reactions. I felt out of control. And so I developed first very unhealthy ways to cope with this sense of loss of control, which were depression and an eating disorder. But as I went through that phase in my life, I also encountered multiple therapists. I was hospitalized a few times. And so gradually I started to understand that there is actually skills and tools you can use to help you deal with these problems. And that is when I started to discover about self-improvement, self-personal development, self-actualization, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, the bottom needs, which are shelter and love and food and safety. And then the higher you climb up the triangle, you can actually reach self-actualization if you take care of all the basic needs. So you have to remove your anxieties and your fears and learn to deal with those. And so I got into self-development simply because I was looking for ways to deal with life. That was honestly the reason. And as I went into therapy, I kind of always felt like the therapists knew certain things. Yes, they read the books, they did the studies, but there was some lack of experiential knowledge, okay? I've always felt like people who haven't gone through the suffering, the pain, the confusion, what it's like to be a depressed person, what it's like to be a hypersensitive person, there is some kind of insight that they lack. They didn't live the experience. And that was always something that I struggled with when I went into therapy. I was like, I can read the books, I can do the studies, that's not a problem, right? It's about the experience. And so what was usually the things that healed me the most, or that helped me the most, or that were the most profound experiences for me, were the moments that I shared with people who went through the same thing as I went through, talking about our experiences, sharing our stories. And that's exactly why I do what I do here. I share my story, I talk about the things that I struggle with, and I hope that through doing that you can feel that I understand your pain, that I understand your situation, your suffering, because that has always been something that I missed growing up. And there's this beautiful quote by Gandhi: "Be the change you want to see in the world." And that is absolutely something that I aspire to. I want to be this person that speaks from experience, which is based in knowledge, scientific knowledge, practical knowledge, topics that have been studied by professionals for many, many years, and I can obtain this knowledge by studying it myself, but also add this layer of personal experience, this experiential level. And that is what I always mention here on the channel. You know, I'm just a guy on the internet talking about his experiences, because for me the experiences is what truly made me feel seen and understood. And so I got into self-improvement simply because I wanted to understand myself better. I wanted to learn to regulate myself better and feel less out of control. And so I learned about meditation and somatic experiencing and mindfulness and assertiveness and all these tools and techniques that helped me conduct my life better. It really helped me to conduct myself with more integrity, authenticity. And it took me a long time to get to the point that I'm now, because I went through a lot of different stages in my life where I went from being a people pleaser to being an extremely selfish person, even like manipulative and deceitful. And then I learned from those experiences and I drew experience from that. And then I ended up being who I am now, right? With the goal to help others through their struggles and their difficulties. And it really made me think, and she was very, how would I say, appreciative and inquisitive in a good way. She made me think about stuff, and she also expressed her appreciation and gratitude, and that's one of the most beautiful gifts that someone can give me, to express their gratitude and appreciation for the things that I do. And she was very open and mature about it, and I thought I'd share that with you guys too, because it's nice to know what drives me to do this, right? And hopefully it can help you understand my message a little bit better, and you can perhaps draw strength even more from my words, because that's ultimately the goal of what I do here, right? So that's why I got into self-improvement, simply to teach myself the tools that I needed to feel a little bit more in control, and to learn about how to be a good person. What does it mean to be a good person? Why do you want to even be a good person, right? Because there is all sorts of reasons why someone might want to be a good person. And for me, there is selfish reasons, because I want to be able to feel good about myself. But also reasons that go beyond me, right? The desire to help others is partly a selfish pursuit, because it makes me feel good about myself. But there is more to that in a way, right? Because I came to understand that everyone is just part of the same universe, the same material, the same center, and we all came from source in a way. So the way I treat you is the way I treat myself, and the other way around. So if I treat you well, I treat myself well, and if I treat myself well, I treat you well, right? And so I want to share the things that I learned along the journey, all those years of self-inquiry and learning about psychology and communication and self-improvement and all these things that really interest me. And I want to share that knowledge, because I think it can help. And that's what I want to do with this information, help you figure your life out, because we're all figuring it out. I am still figuring it out. Everyone is, even at an old age. I don't believe people when they say that they've got it all figured out. It's just not true. And we tend to lose ourselves in this fantasy that other people have figured it out. But most likely they didn't. And that's okay, right? It's absolutely okay to not have it all figured out. It's, I think, even supposed to be like that. So I just try to share my journey with you guys, and I hope that I can I can give you some tools, some perspectives, ideas, things that really helped me. And you can do with my information whatever you want, right? You don't have to take my word for it. I don't claim to know everything whatsoever. My journey has always been to take bits and pieces of information that were relevant to my life, that I could apply to my life, and that have proven to be useful, very useful sometimes even, and that's how I conducted myself. So I never took one person's perspective or opinion as the perspective or opinion, more like taking the parts that resonated with me as a person, and I applied them to my own life. So I invite you to do the same, to listen to my words and to apply the things that resonate to you, because certain things that I talk about might not at all resonate with you and not work in your life. So maintain a critical attitude, be skeptical of what I say. Don't take everything as truth, because I don't know the truth and I don't claim to know the truth. I'm simply sharing my experiences in the hopes to inspire you, perhaps even do the same. Okay, guys? So I just felt like sharing this with you. I hope you somehow enjoyed it and got something out of this. It's been a long journey, like many years. I remember reading my first self-improvement book when I was like 14, and I'm turning 29 now, so that's almost 15 years of personal development. You can only do so much personal development, right? So also don't get lost in that world, because sometimes you can let go of this constant need of improving yourself. It's not necessary. You can also just be in a good way, not just surviving, but more like being at peace, listening to some music, going for a walk, connecting with a loved one, having a conversation, enjoying a good meal, spending time in a beautiful environment, you know, the small things in life. And it sounds cliche, but it's true. Wherever you are, there you are, and if you bring your mindfulness to the present moment and you learn to appreciate it and not judge it, you will live a fulfilling life. And of course, it doesn't work always and everywhere. Sometimes you get lost in thought and you get caught up in the minutia of life. That's okay. You can find your way back to the narrow road and continue walking, and that is what I'm trying to do here. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you got something out of this little bit of the life of Wolf, and talk to you soon. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.